What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. It is opening night of the 2024 NFL season, Thursday evening. Hope you guys are all having a great night. I'm super stoked about what we get to see a good game tonight. Kansas City hosting the Baltimore Ravens. It's raining in Kansas City. I gotta start the show with a little bit of a bummer, but right now it does not look great in Kansas City. It looks they've had the fans evacuate to the lower levels. We're getting some heavy rains here in Kansas City, and then just doing a little bit of weather forecasting here. If you look at the hourly, they're calling for rain, thunderstorms from now up until about 9 o'clock p.m. Central Time. Heavy rain towards 11 p.m. I'm concerned, man. It's going to be a wet, sloppy football game tonight. We don't get an exciting aerial show. I think it's going to be a lot of running, defense, and thunderstorms, man. We got to be on lightning watch for this game here. So unfortunately, I don't think we're on a weather delay yet. I haven't seen anything, but they did call people in underneath to get out of the bowl of the stadium. So there's going to be some bad weather throughout tonight. Otherwise, let's hang out for the next half an hour or so. We'll get done around 7 p.m. Central Time here. Let me know your questions. I'm going to kind of go over some of the player news and active news, and we'll just hang out. And Thursday nights are always going to be locked in here for me, 6:30 to about 7 p.m. Central Time. We'll hang out, and we'll just talk football, answer questions, whatever you guys need. But it is not looking great here in Kansas City. This was the game before the rain came, and now it's pouring rain in Kansas City. So start your Derrick Henrys, start your Isaiah Pacheco's. The defenses are now in play as the point total's probably dropping on this game here. I'm gonna have to go look and see. I want to go to DraftKings and look and see what the point total is looking like. And tonight's game down to about 46. So they're still thinking there's going to be some points. I want to pull up and see what the totals were yesterday. Let me just go to the fantasyfellowship.com real quick. Yesterday they were at 46.5. So the points really haven't dropped. I think I'm probably hitting the under there on 46 right now. But anyways, we're gonna refresh the news feed and just kind of go over some of the news and notes that you guys need to worry about for week one. We got Noah Fant limited for today. I think he's going to be fine for week one. Tyler Lockett also limited for week one, going up against Denver. Obviously, Hollywood Brown's out this tonight here. You have a few other guys for the Chiefs out for week one, but I don't think it's anything major. Just Marquise Brown would be the big one. On the Ravens side, you got rookie Devontae Walker, offensive lineman, safety, Adisa Isaac, a couple other guys here, rookie TJ Tampa, a few guys out on the Ravens side. I did see that the Ravens placed Rasheen Ali on IR with a neck injury. I think if you're watching this right now and you have a free spot, and especially if you have a league with IR, go ahead and add Keaton Mitchell right now. We're going to see Keaton Mitchell sometime by mid-October, November. He should be the RB2 for the Ravens at some point this season. So if you have an IR spot, I'm putting Keaton Mitchell on the end of my bench and then moving him to IR, and then you got that free spot back on your roster. This one was kind of surprising here. Russell Wilson status firmly up in the air for week one against the Falcons. I did see a quote where Van Jefferson's like, I didn't see any limitations. He looked fine today. So I don't know what's going on here. But Russell Wilson, I think, was officially limited today and practicing in full with no designation on Wednesday. So maybe that's just soreness. Maybe they're just kind of, just fudging the reports a little bit. I'm not overly concerned yet. If he misses practice tomorrow, then we're concerned. But as long as he gets a limited day in tomorrow, I think Russell Wilson's going to be fine. This one was an interesting quote from Greg Roman today. So we got a lot of good quotes from coaches today. He confirmed that the team will employ a hot hand approach between the top two running backs, Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. And I get it. I know J.K. Dobbins coming off an Achilles and multiple knee tears. He's not the best bet to be a fantasy hit this year. But If he looks better than Gus Edwards earlier in the year, he's going to be the lead back. If Gus Edwards looks better than J.K. Dobbins, he's going to be the lead back. I think there's room for both guys. This team's going to run the ball 25, 30 times per game. So whether that's 15 carries for Gus and 12 for J.K., something like that could be the ultimate split. I think Gus Edwards is still probably the short yardage back, but we have to monitor this. And these are the teams that, like, you know, your Chargers. There's a handful of other teams that, like, we don't really want to start players on, but we want to learn and see what the week one reveal looks like. So I'm open to Gus Edwards and J.K. Dobbins. One of these two, if not both of these guys, will be fantasy relevant at some point this year. You have DJ Chark here remaining sidelined. That's good news, I guess, for Quentin Johnston, who he was behind him on the depth chart earlier in the August. But now you're looking at a top three wideout list of Palmer, McConkey, and Quentin Johnston probably going into week one. Brock Bowers remains limited here. I think it's nothing here. Antonio Pierce already saying that he's going to be active for week one here. So they're just keeping it cautious here with Brock Bowers. I think he's going to be fine for week one. Josh Palmer was added to the injury report with a knee issue. This one's interested. He's still listed as a full participant, but sometimes it just means the issue occurred at the end of practice. So tomorrow we'll watch for news reports on Josh Palmer. I do have Josh Palmer ranked as a flex this week. I'm open to him being a guy that can, you know, in deeper formats can be a wide receiver 3 flex for you. But if he can't go, obviously that's going to be a big note, and we're going to probably want to play Ladd McConkey and, dare I say, Quentin Johnston, but we'll see. This is a sleeper to watch here. Malik Washington, the potential number 3 wide receiver for the Miami Dolphins. He was a really fun prospect for me coming into the draft class, and I like the fit here with Miami. He might open up the season as the wide receiver 3, and who knows? There's never really been enough room for a wide receiver 3 in fantasy on the Dolphins the past few years. But if anything happens to Tyreek or Waddle, we're going to be wanting to add Malik Washington off the waiver wire. Moving on to Roman Wilson. I'm not expecting much from Roman Wilson early in the year. He's still limited with that high ankle sprain he suffered. Jaylen Warren. Awesome. Upgraded to full. I fully expect Warren to play week one. I do think you have to worry just like a little bit about him not getting a full workload in this game. I think Najee Harris is probably a slam dunk pick. If you have Najee Harris this week, you're playing Najee. Jaylen Warren's probably more of a low-end RB2 flex play, so let me know if you guys have questions on Jaylen Warren. Kyle Pitts listed as a full participant in Thursday's practice, so the hamstring injury. You know, these are practice reports. I think, you know, just doing this for the last 7 years, I don't really care for Wednesday practice reports. I think Thursday and Friday, those are the ones you care about. You want to see at least a limited on Thursday, if not a full or limited by Friday, and those players should play. So Wednesday, typically more of a walkthrough installation day. I think Kyle Pitts is going to be just fine for week one. We got Antonio Gibson limited on Thursday's practice here after being a full participant on Wednesday. So that's interesting. So he was added to the report. We'll watch his participation tomorrow. You're starting Ramondre Stevenson if you drafted him. But if Gibson doesn't play week one, like Ramondre probably looks like a bell cow back that's going to get 20 plus touches and will be a must start player. We have T. Higgins limited with a hamstring. This is the first that I've heard about a hamstring, but Higgins is saying, I feel amazing. So we'll assume this is something that's a little of no concern. If you have T. Higgins, you're starting T. Higgins this week against the Patriots. No issues there. Maybe T. Higgins is playing on the Patriots next year. What do you guys think about that? Roschon Johnson limited on Thursday's practice here. I still think he's the clear RB3. I think I have Khalil Herbert ranked ahead of him in terms of like pecking order for week one. No Jamal Adams for Tennessee. DeAndre Hopkins limited with the knee injury. So he's on track to play. I'm glad he's not missing practice this week. If he's active, he's going to be like a boom bust wide receiver 3 flex. If you guys do have questions on DeAndre Hopkins, let me know. I think, he's going to flirt with top 40, top, 36 wide receiver numbers in his first game back. And I'm going to lean towards being cautious with him coming back and just not getting a ton of work. Keenan Allen with a heel. I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. The fact that he's already limited with a heel injury is not great. I want Keenan Allen to be healthy at the start of the year after just battling injuries the last couple of years. But we'll watch for his report on Friday. I think he's going to be fine for week one. Nothing to worry about. We did get good news and confirmation on Jordan Addison being active for week one. He says he'll definitely be active. The ankle injury, he says he's 100%. This was a high ankle sprain that he suffered in the middle of August, and he's had a lot of time to heal, and he's ready to roll. Jonnu Smith, man, we'll probably be talking about Jonnu Smith on the waiver wire at some point this year. Maybe not week 1 or 2, but at some point he's going to make some plays, and we're going to be like, okay, like Jonnu can play. It's weird that he's interested. Like he's listed as the team's number 2 fullback. And the team, runs a lot of 3 wide receiver sets with 1 tight end and 1 running back, but they're planning to increase their 12 personnel usage, which would get 2 tight ends on the field. They like Durham Smythe as a extension of the running game in a pass blocking situation. So if their best offense is Tyreek, Waddle, Jonnu, Smythe, and a running back, that's probably what they're going to run more often. So we'll see what happens with Jonnu Smith. Keep an eye on there because they want to, he can run the ball. He can do some fun things. He's an athletic guy. Keep an eye on Jonnu Smith this season. Juwan Jennings limited on Thursday. Wide receiver 3 role is his with no Ricky Pearsall for at least the next month. Noah Gray getting a big extension here with the Chiefs. 3-year, $19.5 million contract extension. This one, from a dynasty perspective, is interesting. Because if Kelce really starts to fade and they need to lean more on 2 tight end stuff, like Noah Gray could be someone that we're talking about at some point. The other issue with this for me is that I really personally liked Jared Wiley, the rookie that they took this year in the draft. And this kind of muddies those waters where it tells me Noah Gray is going to continue to be a part of this Chiefs offense. So I'm a little bit concerned about the dynasty aspect there. But Noah Gray remains a guy to keep an eye on just in case anything happens to our guy. This one, interesting. Packers play tomorrow night. Manuel Wilson is the RB3, but he's listed as questionable for week 1. And this has a lot to think about because I think Marshawn Lloyd, we don't know if he's going to play. The pecking order is Jacobs, Lloyd, and then Emmanuel Wilson. Wilson can't be retrusted. Like, we're not putting him in our lineups at all. And we're not putting Marshawn Lloyd, but I do want to see what happens as the Packers are moving. This is a whole new backfield. We've seen Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon for the last 3-4 years, and now we're looking at Jacobs, Wilson, Marshawn Lloyd. I want to see how this pecking order plays. As of right now, I think Josh Jacobs is probably a top 5, top 10 back in terms of just getting a ton of volume in this Packers offense, probably upwards of 17, 18 carries. 3-4 catches in this game. I think Jacobs is probably going to be a smash to start the year. Tucker Kraft also listed as questionable. He tore the pec earlier in the OTA's minicamp sessions, and now he's lingering with a back injury here. So I think we're going to keep Tucker Kraft in the back of our minds just in case anything happens, later to Luke Musgrave, or if Tucker Kraft does emerge as the tight end 1, something like that. But for now, it's not happening for Kraft. I think just with the injury and a healthy Luke Musgrave, like the Packers are coming into the year, besides the running back issues right now, they've been one of the healthier teams at receiver and offensive line. Marshawn Lloyd listed truly as questionable. He did practice the last 2 days, though, with limited tags, which is a good sign for his availability. But again, I think if you're playing DFS tomorrow night, or if you have Josh Jacobs, you got to be licking your chops here because it's looking like he's going to be on the field almost 90% of the time tomorrow night. The Eagles did list Isaiah Rodgers, who I believe was kind of their 2nd or 3rd quarterback coming into the season. He's going to be out for week 1. I think Jordan Love and the Packers receivers get a little advantage there. We'll see what else we can find here. I'm not making any noise about the Christian McCaffrey calf Achilles here, limited on Thursday's practice. It's it's Monday. It's their first practice. Christian McCaffrey doesn't really need to practice. He knows what he's doing. I think if he were to miss practice tomorrow or Saturday, then I would be concerned. But for now, this is kind of a no news situation for me. And overall, I'm not too worked up about McCaffrey being limited, as he's been dealing with a calf, injury for the last few weeks. Interesting. Geno Smith maybe being reached out for a contract extension. I think if you've watched my stuff, I've been pretty high on the Seahawks this year. I'm very excited about the new head coach, the new offensive coordinator situation. I love the group of receivers. I like Noah Fant at tight end, and I like their running backs. I think the Seahawks are a very underrated offense this year. I expect them to be top 10 in passing yards, which is something that we probably don't get to say too often. And, man, if they give, Geno Smith's 34, if they extend him for another couple seasons, That would be kind of interesting. So it's not exactly a prove it year for Geno, but it could turn into one if things go similar to last season, is the note. Jordan Addison practicing. A.T. Perry not practicing. Not really anything of note there. He's the wide receiver 3 for the Saints. Nothing for fantasy. We did get Marshawn Lattimore practicing in full today, which maybe he's on, Adam Thielen or one of the outside receivers. I don't think he's going to be in the slot. So maybe Deontay Johnson continues to rack up targets there. Again, Russell Wilson limited with the calf today. Ja'Marr Chase, that's the big one that we haven't talked about yet. Ja'Marr Chase fully practicing today on Thursday. Looks like he's going to be fine. He's going to play week 1. I think, maybe his team is still working on a contract, but he knows his best situation is to be out there with his team and getting some practices in. So he still might be a little rusty. Week 1 might not be perfect. It might be, off on some targets, something like that, but you're still playing Ja'Marr Chase, assuming he plays. Keep an eye on that one. Colts kicker Matt Gay not practicing on Thursday. Maybe some soreness there. I don't think Josh Downs is going to play, but now this is not practicing today. It makes me think he's not going to play week 1. So Adonai Mitchell, man, we might get a nice reveal on the rookie wide receiver here. I think you're starting Michael Pittman Jr. if you have him, and then Adonai Mitchell, man. If no Josh Downs, Adonai Mitchell becomes a deeper flex play in 12-team leagues that you start, maybe upwards of 4 receivers, something like that. This one was of note to me too here. This Jalen Ramsey one, not spotted at practice today. They're hopeful he was ready to go for week 1, but he's missed 2 straight practices this week, which makes me, excuse me, makes me a little bit worried for his week 1 availability. This would be a huge win for the Jaguars passing offense, obviously, with Trevor Lawrence, Christian Kirk in the slot. You also have the outside receivers, Gabe Davis, and the rookie Brian Thomas Jr. So no Jalen Ramsey potentially for week 1. I think the Jags are a sneaky team on offense to look at for DFS. Mike Williams, so he's not startable in fantasy football yet. He's on a snap count to start the year. We're going to monitor him from our bench. Please don't start Mike Williams. It's a tough matchup. Let's let him, get a few games under his belt and see how things are looking before we trust him. I did see Justin Herbert note here. They added him to the injury report after they said they were advised to do so by the league, just because it's something to monitor and they don't want to be caught in any situations where he's not 100%. So Justin Herbert, I think he's fine. It's been a full month since his plantar fascia. It's going to be something that he monitors all year. Maybe he's not running the ball as much as he normally would, but we'll keep an eye there on Justin Herbert. And I think we're kind of all caught up on injury notes here. So this one's good to note here for TJ Hawkinson. The Vikings are loosely targeting a week 7 or so return for Hawkinson. So he's on PUP to start the year. He's out 4 games minimum. They'll probably activate him by week 5 or 6 and let him get – typically when a guy gets back from an injury like this, they're going to want him to get through 2 weeks of practice and then play. So maybe he practices, weeks 5 and 6, and then he plays week 7. Maybe he practices week 6 and 7 and plays week 7, something like that. So good news for TJ Hawkinson. I'm still not super excited to have TJ Hawkinson, but if you need a tight end and I'm assuming he was drafted, but if he's out there, man, go grab TJ Hawkinson, slide him to the IR. Interesting note here on the Tampa Bay running backs here. Todd Bowles says you normally go with the hot hand, but since nobody has played yet, Rashad obviously starts and we'll kind of go from there. This is kind of like I kind of view this as negative for Rachaad White, because if he was going to be the main guy, they're going to be like, yeah, Rachaad White's our guy. He's our bell cow back. He's our starter. But they're kind of leaving the door open for whether it's Bucky Irving or Sean Tucker to get some more opportunities. They're saying they're going to go with a hot hand. So I have personally been kind of avoiding Rachaad White in drafts this year. I don't think he's that great of a runner. I think he's a good receiver. We'll see if he loses some work this season. And now we're back into the Wednesday notes here. So I'm going to get out of here for the night, though. If you guys have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Check out thefantasyfellowship.com. You guys can go there and sign up for the membership program. We're doing weekly rankings. I have my start sit charts available there. I have a few other things. And shout out to Daniel, man. Tomorrow night in Brazil, we're going to get the Love Show. We're going to get access to a potential beginning of an MVP season from Jordan Love. That's my take. I think Jordan Love, one of the top 3 or 4 players for MVP voting this year. So Hope you're doing well, Daniel. It's been a long time, but we're here, buddy. We're back. And I got to check and see what's going on with this Kansas City Ravens game. Are we going to get on rain delay? Are they pushing this back? Nobody knows. But either way, that's it for me, guys. I will be back on Saturday with a player prop show. I will be back on Sunday morning doing just, start sit questions if you guys want to hang out with me at 10:30 a.m. Central Time. Otherwise, I did post my schedule on the homepage of thefantasyfellowship.com and just showed you guys what we're going to be looking at for the regular season and all the content that we're putting out. So I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me this season. I'm so ready for the season to begin. Good luck tonight. Get your guys in, enjoy the game, and we will see you this weekend. Take it easy. Peace.